So welcome, everyone. I am so excited. I have been playing with this really cool technology tonight, and I think I'm in love. And I hate to say that I might be in love with technology, but I might be in love with technology. So it took me most of the day to work this out, but I've tried to do a different presentation with you as my test people tonight. So hi, I'm Diana Atkins. You know, I'm a minister, I'm a teacher, hypnotherapist, author. I'm a founder of Artists of the Spirit's Life and Life Coach Training, as well as Energize Your Life, Living Light, and a bunch of other programs over the years. You can find me in my collection of offerings right now at artistofthespirit.org. That's my website, which has everything on it. But tonight, I really want to talk about this whole very elusive niche or niche concept. And it's like the who, the what, and the why in particular, and how that relates to imposter syndrome. All right. And so the word, we're going to start with the what and the actual word niche. So there are two ways to pronounce it, and both are right, thank God, so you can all relax, those that are wanting to get things right. It can be pronounced either nich, and if you look at the pronunciation here, it's the first one is nich. It's like rich with the N, or niche, and that's like it's sort of like nich, screech. Oh yeah, it's like screech, but with an N. And so both are correct. And what I found, because I wanted to look it up today, so I wasn't giving you lies, I was actually being honest with you. I looked it up today, and what I found was that the whole actual meaning behind a niche or a niche, it's the original French pronunciation is niche, okay? It's a niche. And it's about like for making a nest. And so that kind of tracks here, if you think about it, because when we choose a niche or a niche, we're choosing kind of like a home, a comfortable kind of known area to work in. And niches can and often will, they'll change with time. They'll change as you grow, they'll change throughout life because, we change. And so niche areas, and hang on just 1 second. I want to make sure that I'm actually live here. So give me 1 second. Hey, Denise, I see that, although I do not see this thing tracking well at all. So again, I'm running my first test drive with this program. And while I'm delighted with the program, I ran one short test drive earlier, and now I'm just hoping to see if it works. So niche areas really apply to so many varied professions. I mean, you've got coaching, you've got lawyers, builders, even doctors, restaurants, masseuses. And so a lot of fields have niches or niches. You may be, say, a divorce attorney instead of a criminal attorney, or a cardiac doctor, or a general practitioner. Maybe instead of standard massage, you do cranial sacred massage. That's a good slip. Cranial sacral massage. Or maybe your restaurant is Greek instead of Italian. So all of these things really kind of apply. And so it's niches. So niches, they're a way to start digging down into the specifics of, say, a broader genre. All right. And so with coaching, that's a huge area. And if we drill down, we might be a sports coach, but that doesn't really, or if we just say I'm a coach, that doesn't tell me anything because it's so broad, right? So within sports coaching, there are golf coaches and all the different balls, football, baseball, basketball, all of that coaches. There's gymnastics and more. And you can probably even dig down deeper within each of those subjects. And, maybe you find a coach for tight ends, and I think that's football. Forgive me, I'm not a big watching sports fan. But, maybe you can find a good one for a tight end for that, for example. And so essentially, I'm just double checking. So yeah, that's working. And so you dig down into the deeper subsets. And so like with coaching, Again, that's huge. And within that, we might have, say, relationship coaches, business coaches, general coaches, spiritual, health, energy. And as you're going to find out later on, way too many niches for me to even talk about our list here. Just know that all of these niches or these areas of, say, specialty or interest are within a greater, say, umbrella of life coaching. Okay. And I have worked with a whole lot of different people who, that have, say, they had grown, I guess the right word would be they'd grown really restless with what they were doing. All right. They're restless in their lives, their career. They wanted to change. They wanted something that was, say, different or more. And more, this was what I found over the years really fascinating because I am similar. They wanted something that was more in alignment with what they felt was their calling or their purpose. So they would quit one thing and then started another. And it really happens a lot, actually. So niche areas often change as we grow and change. And I remember I was not gonna share this, but I'm going to. Hang on, this is wisdom and wine for a reason. So I was happily living in Taos, New Mexico. I was an accountant. I mean, I was actually doing well. In fact, I specialized, I niched down. There's an example. As an accountant, I had niched down into nonprofit accounting. And to this day, I don't know why so many people freak out about filing Form 990s for the nonprofits, but they did. And so here I am, I'm living in Taos where I now live, but my spiritual community, which I have here at the Lama Foundation, but my other one, one of my real heart or other heart, moved to Texas. So I'm sitting there. What happened actually was my landlords, this is sad, but my landlords got murdered by their son, who then later, at one point I was kind of worried since he had grown up in the earthship that I was living in, that he might come and try to get in, but he didn't. Thank goodness. But, we're going to have to, the place was going to go into probate. And so they said you could buy it if you wanted, but at that point in life, it was going to cost me, and this was this was way back in 2005, let's say. So that was quite a while ago, 18 years ago. And, the prices were quite high back then. But anyway, so I decided I'm going to have this big life change like I'm talking about that many people go through. I upped and moved myself to Texas, and I wanted to follow my heart, my passion, and my calling. And that's how I became, I was already a Toltec teacher, and I had my apprentices and all of that. But that's when I shifted into coaching, and what I said was I wanted my career, what I spent so much of a week doing, to be my passion and part of my heart. All right. That was what I wanted. And so I'm living it now, and I'll mention that later. And so basically that is the what, let's say, of niche areas. But tonight I also want to really talk specifically on, say, the life coaching niche areas, since I kind of know a lot about those. But please understand that, like I said, a whole lot of careers have niche areas. Maybe specialty areas is an easier way to talk about it or think about it. So niches or areas of expertise, or your passion, like I had, and your interest. And so now onto the why. All right. And why would we need a niche? And I'm going to talk about that, and then we're going to end up with who actually needs them and whether you do or not. So as a life coach, you're going to hear often that, I'm serious, you hear this all the time, you must choose a niche area to work in. And over time, I've been watching this, and what I've seen is that's usually coming from the people that are telling you how to market what you do, all right? But what they don't tell you, and this is really pretty important, what they don't tell you is that the primary reason to choose a niche is that's kind of important. But anyway, it's to choose It's just so you can focus. You can focus your offerings so that then if you're doing that, you're focusing your marketing, and thus you're intelligently spending all of your marketing dollars, all right? And so this becomes, yeah, it makes sense, especially if you're trying to hit the friggin' target. I mean, you don't want to be firing arrows at every single thing that is not your target, all right? And so it's a complete waste of energy and can really annoy a whole lot of people like me and you and all of us that get untargeted marketing, you know, because they're not interested in what we're doing. And so a lot of offerings and services, if you talk to the people that are doing the offering, they're going to say that what they're doing and offering would benefit everybody, which is great. And it's probably true. But as one of my marketing teachers pointed out, we serve all sentient beings, one person or group or segment at a time. All right. And then trust me, one size does not work for everyone. It does not. And that is why so many fields are so diverse and why it's helpful to do what I call niching down. And I get it that many think niching down is going to limit you. And I think that because I thought that, right? You know, I thought that niching down would really limit my, I don't know, my possibilities, my opportunities. But the truth, yeah, it's that if you're niching down, you can still stay broad, okay? So I'm gonna give you an example. Like with my Artists of the Spirit coach training program. And since women, I'm kind of like some men, I'm getting a couple more men now, but women are the group that are most interested in spiritual development. I mean, if you talk to most people in retreat centers, that's the case. And so, you know, and they're also really kind of comfortable with asking for directions. I'm sorry, guys, but women are. And so I focus my marketing dollars on women between 25 to 65, and they are in English-speaking countries because I speak English, right? And I just don't feel like shifting that up. So this is niche down a little, okay? And true, I could try and focus more on the attributes of my avatar. An avatar is what they call your ideal customer these days. It's just another piece of the language that'll change in another year. Another way to put it is just the basic demographics of my particular clients, my students that I'm targeting. So so with what I do though, I've hit gender and female, I've hit age, 25 to 65, and I've also hit the English-speaking countries. I could target interest, income levels, and more, but one, I've decided to keep it broad, and two, with the whole consent to being tracked deal that happened about a year and a half ago, the GDPR, your Google and a lot of places are not able to track as directly as they used to. So I just keep it broad, but this is where it can get dicey, okay? So just take me, all right? I'll use me, my work. I am a spiritual teacher. I'm really centered around Toltec philosophy, and I'm also very centered around energy work. So right there, I've niched down a little more, and frankly, I probably turned off a whole lot of people that think the word spiritual is too woo-woo for them. Along with energy work and definitely Toltec work, because they don't know what the hell it is, except they do. Because if they've read Don Miguel Ruiz, the 4 Agreements or any of his books, they might probably cut me some slack. So this is where all of us, we really get to decide for ourselves what is enough or too much, or what niche area we want to be associated with. Because remember, one size does not fit all. And you get to tailor anything you offer to the world to be how you want to be perceived. And this is really an important point, how you want to be perceived, okay? And so this is where imposter syndrome comes into play, along with the like who, so I'm covering all my little bases here. So if you're thinking to become a life coach or any kind of a coach or service provider, really, then being officially trained absolutely helps. And and what I'm talking about now is how you feel. It's going to help you feel more secure. And it's going to offer you authority, which is becoming more and more important. That authority, yes, I have been certified and trained. But this applies basically to everybody, because I've also seen with imposter syndrome, I have also seen fully trained and certified coaches and therapists and all kinds of people actually question if they are good enough. If they're wondering who's going to listen to me, or they're going to be afraid, am I too old or too young or too new or whatever, right? To help others. I mean, seriously? Boom. I know I've said to my grads a nicer version of, are you, and I was nicer, but I was like, are you kidding me? I spent all that time training you and now you're going to question me? I mean, if I say you're good to go, you're freaking good to go. All right. And I still have to laugh. And like I said, it was a nicer version of that. But still, even once they hear that from me, they'll still fall back on the naysaying, the fearful kind of stupid voices in their heads that has them questioning themselves and their value. And you've all experienced it. We all get it. Doesn't mean it's right. Okay. And so what happens? This is where imposter syndrome starts. Okay. It's that lack of confidence in oneself, despite all evidence to the contrary that says you're not enough, you're not smart enough, or good enough, or old enough, or young enough, and on and on and on. And so the Oxford Dictionary says that it is the persistent, I love that word, persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of your own efforts or skills. And then it goes on to talk about how people suffer from anxiety as a result of that. And so I'm going to try and save you from some of that. And it will be a start. All right. But then you're going to have to do the deeper work for yourself. Okay. You can, there's a lot of avenues to help you with that, especially if you're in my world. My coach training program, I've got all my coaching grads, or not all of them, but whoever decided to. You can find a coach, find me. I mean, anyway. So something about me that you might not know, although the way I talk and communicate is probably evident, I am pretty much into the truth. I mean, that's my jam, right? I am only interested in the truth. And with my pretty much decades of using this trick with students, clients, and apprentices, I have never had one of them, I mean, not one, that wasn't able to get to the truth, which is that, truthfully, the truth is you're pretty amazing. They're pretty amazing. Everyone is really pretty amazing in their own unique way. But you don't get that unless you actually look for the truth. You don't believe any voice, including your own, that's telling you otherwise. So telling you you're not worthy, or that you're the shit, or you're not good. I mean, stop it, really and truly. So here goes the trick. And this is, I really have used this for a long time. And it's a spinoff. When I was getting divorced, it's a spinoff from what my marriage counselor took me through. And I mean, gosh, I was 28. I'm older, a lot older. I'm over 35 years older than that or more. My marriage counselor took me through, in a sense. And so the trick is, the practice is, make a list of every single thing that you have ever done where you succeeded, that you succeeded at. I mean, really, you need to make a written list of every single thing you have ever done that you succeeded at. And I'm talking as many friggin' things as you can think of. Since you're initially not going to be creative enough, because all the hundreds and hundreds of people I've taken them through this, they're never creative enough at the start. Here's some pointers, okay? One, you count every school you've ever graduated from, every job you've ever been hired at, every course that you've taken, every training, every partner you've had, and every partner you broke up with, all right? If you got married, that counts, as does getting a divorce because you got out of an inappropriate, at the time, let's say, situation. You count the times that you tried to help people, the times that you've given to others. You count your heart, you count your good intentions. And basically, you really count all the times that you have succeeded with all of your virtues and your gifts. Okay? That's your challenge, and I mean it. I've done it because I forget too, you know, it's like, in fact, I've done this, geez, in the last 35, 40 years. I mean, I've done this a number of times because we forget. We're human. We forget. We get down. Oh, I'm not good. You know, I mean, all of us do. I know I have been blessed. I mean, I've known some great teachers and thinkers and all of that. I mean, it can happen to all of us at some points. And so then, since if you listened to me and you wrote it out, I mean, if you know, then you're going to look at it. But if you typed it out, print the damn thing. All right. And you're going to take a good long look at that list. This is the important part. Writing is the first step, but you need to acknowledge and honor that list. And so you put it where you can see it regularly, and so that you can add to it as you remember more things. And really, you have to, it helps so much if you will just accept that. You know, while you may have more to learn and more to grow into and more to change, that's fine. But you have honestly succeeded at a whole lot of stuff. All right. Do you hear that? You have honestly succeeded at a whole lot. Ooh, mind blown. But only if you let yourself acknowledge that. And so what happens once you actually realize that is that you continue with the learning. You need to stop every single thought, every single fear, every feeling that tries to tell you that you can't. All right, because your list, I mean, listen to me, your list is actual proof that you can. You can do this. You can learn it, you can succeed, you can shift, you can change, you can grow. You can do this because you spent your whole life already doing it. I mean, really, get real. Like I said, remember the truth. That's what I'm interested in. And if for some crazy reason, and sorry, but if you are totally flummoxed or you're only coming up with a handful of things, then first thing you do is you go and you ask for friends or family. Well, but they got to be people that actually like you, that you think will be honest with you, what they think your virtues and your successes and your gifts are. And then you write their answers down as well. All right. So there are two tricks for getting over imposter syndrome. So you make your list. That's your first list or your first task. And then you stop every single thought that's going to tell you you're not all right, because it's bullshit. I mean, come on, let's get real. You've done all this stuff, right? And you have succeeded. So you got to stop the thoughts telling you you're not. So then once you get over imposter syndrome and you're ready to like embrace your calling or your certification or your training, what can really, really, really help is to understand that people, I mean, this really applies a lot for life coaches, but it works for others as well. But life coaches especially, they are best served by approaching their career and their work from one or all of what I'm going to call success zone topics. I'm just making this up, but success zone positions. And by that, I mean that if we're holding one or two or all, we can ante up on succeeding. We are more likely to succeed. All right. And so here they are. So the first is experience. I mean, this is stuff that you have done, which should be on your list as well, by the way, of your successes. I mean, you've got experience. Oh, raising kids goes on that list. Hell, I would say raising my dad, raising my husband, a lot of experience goes on your list. So that's the first one. The second is knowledge. Okay, this is all the stuff you've learned and hopefully practice, which should also be on your list. All right, another success zone position is the third, are your skills and your gifts. So this is the stuff that comes naturally to you, which should be on your list. And I'll give you an example. I am naturally freaking curious. I mean, I'm curious about everything, and I have been my whole life. That's an asset to me, especially as a coach, but that's an asset to me. It annoys your friends sometimes, but I'm counting it on my asset side. Then the fourth is it's like your passion and your deep interest. All right. These are where you're going to bring the most juice, the most energy, because passion creates a whole lot of energy that's life-changing for us. It really is. And I am so passionate about what I do, and if you get me talking about it, it shows. I love it. And so if we will keep these four things in mind, if we won't forget them, then if we choose steps moving forward with those in mind, it's going to help us to understand what we will likely be very good at doing and what we might best avoid. All right. Because if we step outside of these success zones, well, I mean, we probably won't feel as confident because we're out of our success zone, and we may have to work a heck of a lot harder, to succeed, if we succeed at all. Okay. And so it's around determine your zone and operate in that. All right. And if imposter syndrome rears its ugly head yet again, because it might, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I go through it regularly. No, actually, if I can fix it, you can fix it. But if it rears its head again, then just ask yourself, okay? Just be honest. The truth, right? Have I learned this? Have I got experience with this? Have I succeeded in doing this in the past? Because trust me, we forget where we've succeeded in the past, which is where you pull out your success list again and make notes of that stuff. Because if you have learned it, if you've got experience with it, if you've succeeded doing it in the past, well, dude's luck. You know what you're doing. And so shift your focus to success, shift it to success and off of disaster imposter mind. All right. Got to get it off of that. And there's another point. Okay. That's another point. Every friggin' thing reacts to our energy that then reacts to our thoughts and our feelings. And I'm serious, everything. And so if we're thinking, we're total crap, okay, that thought is going to create crappy energy, crappy feelings that will then resonate with crappy experiences. It's sort of like self-fulfilling prophecies, and, I don't know, I'm pretty sure you've all heard the saying that, watch your thoughts for they become your words. Watch your words for they become your actions. Watch your actions for they become your habits. Watch your friggin' habits for they become your character, and you watch your character because it becomes your destiny. What we think we become. And this is what I meant by a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you've got to be aware. You've got to watch it. You've got to, you have to be aware of what you're thinking. As a Toltec, that's what I love, because they're all about the mastery of awareness, right? I mean, all about the mastery of awareness. And I love Denise Garcia was saying, hey, I'm pretty amazing. And thank you, Tony. And I'm glad that y'all like this. Yeah. So if you have questions or comments, you can put them in the chat so that I can answer them either now or, if you watch it later. All right. And so I mentioned at the very beginning that niches were way too many to list, right? And since that is true, I am offering all the people that have stayed on this long a gift. Okay. And it's, it's really, there's tons of ideas on this gift. It's a PDF, and I did call it, I'm kind of boring with that, 170 coaching niche ideas. So you can see how truly varied the fields and the possibilities. It's like, oh gosh, what was that? Oh, what the bleep? They called it the court of possibility, or the field of endless possibilities, right? But the field and the possibilities to work as a life coach are at least 170. And then I've got extras right on the registration page. So really, honestly, it's pretty much the sky's the limit. Or I guess really your imagination is the only limit. And so I'm going to put the link to pick up that PDF in the comments. And for those that are already on my mailing list, hello, hear me now. I've already scheduled to send the PDF to you later tonight. And so that way you don't have to re-register. It'll be in your inbox later tonight, so keep your eyes out for that. Along with the 170, for all you new folks, the 170 niche ideas, I'm also offering you a free one-on-one 30-minute clarity call with me if you're really wanting to look at niches, to look at, say, coaching, or looking at how niches might apply to your career, when you request the list of the 170, you'll also get an email on how to schedule that time with me. Okay, I love talking about, obviously I love talking about this stuff. And so I'd be happy to talk with you. And what I found interesting when I went to pull the right links today is that on the registration page, it also gives you 21 additional niche areas that I somehow missed when I created the original 170s. Truthfully, how did I miss adding new baby coach or cooking coach or tech and IT coaching? But I did, so oh well. But they're there right on the registration sign-up page. And then the last thing I want to share is that coming up next month, I am going to have a new training. I haven't scheduled it yet, or the dates for it yet, but I will let you know. And it's going to be packed with even more value, because artists, it's like my whole thing is life and life coach training. All right, I'm both. I'm a coach, and so I coach people and all of that. But it's going to have a lot more, add more value to you. It's going to apply to life and to coaching. So keep an eye out for that. And again, I will post a link to the free 170 coaching niche ideas with my blessings. And if you haven't joined this particular Facebook page, it'd be really lovely if you haven't joined it to consider doing that. And that way you should get notices of when, events are happening. All right, y'all, I'm going to say, let me just check Facebook really quick, see if there's anything else. Bye, Denise. Thank you, guys. All right, so everyone be well and bless you.